Good afternoon. Welcome back. It is I, Jim Lettuce, your fearless leader. Welcomes, greetings, lettuce heads. It is Monday at about 4 p.m. I'm kind of late. I try to do everything at 3 p.m., but you know, stuff happens. I underestimated my setup time once again. Also, OBS had to update, so just blame OBS. It's not my fault at all. Even though the update was like a minute. But, alright, I think we're streaming as usual. Let me make sure it's actually streaming. I think it's working. But I'm paranoid, so I'm gonna check. One of these days I'll have like a team of people that can do this for me. As of now, no, I don't have one. It's just little old me. Alright, I think it's working. The YouTube app, as always, is lagging. Well, welcome to the show. I still have that link for the direct relief fund that gets gloves and masks to doctors. So please click that before you do anything else. But without further ado, let's start the show. I got a lot today. There's a few more topics than... Well, there's one extra topic than usual, so we'll probably go a little bit long today. But whatever, let's do it. You're probably in quarantine, you got nothing to do, so sit back, grab a bag of chips, or whatever you want to do, and let's get this going. Hold on, No! I did it wrong. I always do it wrong. Hold on. This is TemporarySpaceStudios. You like my logo? I'm really proud of my logo. My public domain logo that anybody could use technically. But eventually I'm going to get someone to make a new one for me. Eventually. But not now. Okay, let's start the show. Boom! Welcome to the Temporary Space Show, the podcast about technology and entertainment where I rant and rave about whatever I really want, honestly. You like that new intro music? The last one kept getting copy flagged, even though I have a license for it, but it's just a pain, so I switched to this one. I think it's because it was a drum and bass song. I like drum and bass. That's my favorite. Oh, no. Alright, check out, before you continue, like and share, subscribe to the channel. Check out the website, follow us on Instagram, or buy our merch at lettucewearclothing.com. Alright, let's get to it. Now, this show is broadcast live. The chat is open if you want to talk. Most people watch it while, after it's done, so, whatever you feel like. Oh, snap! Someone's commenting. Gotcha Fox says, hi. What's up, Gotcha Fox? Welcome. Come join us while I rant and rave about topics. Alright. That's enough of that. I almost need a third music track. This is my waiting music. And then this is the intro, obviously. Intro/outro music. I need a third one that plays while I talk. So I'll do that. Anyways, let's get started. The first topic today is CD Projekt Red. I want to talk about CD Projekt Red. Now, I do this once a month, so some of these topics are slightly old. I think eventually I'll start doing this twice a month. I think every week is just too much. It's not possible. It's not possible to find enough stuff to talk about. I talk to self. I do that too. Alright, let me share my screen here. Once I get it going. Here we go. First topic is CD Projekt Red. I want to talk about their award-winning strategy, or smart. I mean, they've won a lot of awards. But, okay, so CD Projekt Red is very unique. They have their own gaming... what do I call it? A game launcher platform. It's called Good Old Games. let's see if I can. Well, here I don't want to. Let's CD Projekt Red GOG. GOG.com. Basically, it's like their version of Steam or the Epic launcher, and this is part of the reason why they have enough money and clout to do things the way they do. They're not really beholden to a publisher like most studios, where they have to constantly push out, microtransactions and cosmetic updates and stuff like that. Even though I don't think they're immune to it, they'll probably do it just because they want that money. But what I want to talk about is recently they were talking about their strategy and how, this COVID-19 stuff, it's not really affecting them as much as it is other companies. Because now I can't find the article. I tried to find it before I started streaming, but basically they were doing an interview and they were talking about, someone brought up the question, are they worried? Is the COVID-19 gonna slow them down and all that? And obviously it is a little, but they were like, no, what we're doing is they have a strategy where they really don't like having debt, which I can get behind. I hate debt. I got student loans right now and I hate it. It's the bane of my existence. Much like credit card debt, which I actually cut up my credit cards. I don't use them anymore. And so they don't do debt. So obviously they don't have to deal with the publisher because they publish their own games. But I think they actively don't borrow money and they pay off whatever debts they have for reasons like this. When the economy's down, they're not really affected. And they also actively keep a large cash reserve, which is really interesting. It's kind of like what Apple does. Apple has a big cash reserve of like cash money somewhere in, like a building somewhere. And I think I imagine they have, let's see if I can find it. What was it? The Incredibles Island. See, I just want a picture of it. This is what I picture. Like, if you've seen The Incredibles, they have this island that he goes to, and it has like this tram and these like guards, and they have like laser guns and stuff. And that's what I imagine Apple's island looks like. It's this like crazy futuristic with these guards with laser guns and stuff like that. And CD Projekt Red probably has the same thing. They keep cash on reserve so they don't have to worry about things like the COVID-19 and everyone's in quarantine, the economy's at a standstill. And oh, what's up, DJ Hunting Down, shout out. But so they have this cash reserve, and that coupled with their anti-debt policy and the fact that they have their own good old games launcher, that they sell games on there. It's a platform just like Steam. They have a lot of games that are DRM free, and DRM is just a thing that it's for anti-cheaters. It basically makes you log in before you do anything. And I just think it's really cool. They brought this up specifically because the interview, they were like, so what happens to Cyberpunk 2077? Is that still coming out? And they were like, hell yeah, we're not delaying it one bit. Because I'm pretty sure they have all the voice actors recorded. All their lines are recorded already. They're just tweaking the game or whatever you do with a game. And because like I'll talk about this later, the new Ghost in the Shell, they have the English dub of it is not out yet because they actually have a message on there that says we're because of the COVID we're being safe and we're not doing the voices yet. So it's only basically I think their voice acting is already done, so they're just tweaking it, and I'm really excited. I'm gonna stream the crap out of that video. Here it is. 2077. I can't wait for this to come out. I really want to play it, and I'm gonna stream it. So hopefully by then I'll have my webcam set up. I bought, with that economic stimulus, I got a PlayStation 4 camera, and I ordered some lights on Amazon, and they'll be here in like a month because they're not essential. So hopefully by then we'll be able to do the 200 subscriber special. I'm almost at 200, so if you're not subscribed, hit that button. Thanks to Mastroen54 or 53, he was like, you gotta stream Detroit Become Human. And he's been saying that for a while, and I think the 200 subscriber special is the time to do it. I'm gonna stream for a 10 plus hour stream. I say 10 plus because I've done 10 hours before and I want to beat it. I want to do 12. I think 24 is a little, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. But I'm very excited. Basically what I'm trying to say is that I'll have the webcam by the time this comes out. Hopefully I'll have it all set up and you can like see my face and stuff. So that's exciting. But yeah, CD Projekt Red, very smart company. Where's my, there it is. They're very smart, and I like their strategy of no debt, cash reserves, and they're also basically a publisher on their own. Very cool. That's kind of what I've adopted with TemporarySpaceStudios. Obviously, we want to make our own stuff, but you can't rely on that. You have to have third-party things like Netflix, like PlayStation and Xbox. So that means in the future, we have more projects that aren't necessarily TemporarySpaceStudios only. For example, Gunrunners, the show here, I'll show you, it should be on here. YouTube.com/temporary. That's our channel. If you go to one of the shows we're promoting that I'm a writer on and a producer, created by my buddy Jesse Pennington. Here it is, Gunrunners. I'm not going to play it. I'll pause it. Anyways, check out the show, Gunrunners. This is our hit show, highest rated show right now. This is technically a third-party title, and we're making more episodes. As soon as everybody can go back, we're going to film more. We have 3, so check that out. But let's go on to the next topic. What's my time here? Oh, who cares? The next topic is AMC Theaters. Here's my surprise behind the scenes. Here's my topic list. Now, I want to shout out, well, it's not really a shout out. I don't know the guy who does the YouTube channel Midnight Edge, but they made a really cool video talking about AMC and why they might go bankrupt. And I was already going to talk about this, but I'm scared to go to other channels and I don't want to autoplay something and get a flag. But check out Midnight's Edge. He does a whole video about AMC and why, like who owns it, and it used to be owned by this family. But I want to talk about it, like even before all this, you know, the Corning calls it the coup. Before all this started, AMC and traditional movie theaters, they're on their way out, and George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, they brought this up like a few years ago actually now. Wait, hold on. DJ Hunting says, my #1 show is Ethiopian Hoarders. That's a show? I have to watch this show. Because I myself am a hoarder, so I'm sympathetic to the plight of hoarders. But anyways, what was I talking about? So AMC, even before all this, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. Okay, George Lucas did Star Wars. Spielberg did like E.T., and recently he did like Ready Player One. For the younger viewers that may not know who that is, these guys have been in the industry for decades. They know what they're talking about. And this was like 3 years ago. They basically said that AMC, and not AMC specifically, but traditional movie theaters are going to go away. They're not going to die. People are still going to do it. But it's going to become more of a novelty where only giant mega movies like Avengers will play. And it'll be like a thing that costs you like $50, like total the whole night, maybe you and a date, and which is basically what it costs now, anyways. But like they're on the way out, and this whole virus thing really made that happen sooner, because like you know, things are starting to open. I live in Texas. They just had a announcement they're going to start opening up businesses, and people have been protesting. While I disagree with the method in which people are protesting, like not wearing masks, and they're not staying 6 feet apart, I get it. Like people can't not work forever, you know, because poverty and depression, that'll kill more people than the virus itself. So we have to open up businesses eventually. So I think it's good. Oh snap, Gotcha Fox said I subbed to you. Thank you, I appreciate it. You rock. We're one step closer to the 200 subscriber special now. Shout out to Gotcha Fox. But like, even though businesses are opening, it's not like people are going to rush to the theaters. And as far as I know, theaters are not opening yet. They're opening some businesses. I think more retail stuff is going to open because, like, I got to buy socks. My socks have holes in them, and I need to buy more, and I don't want to buy them on Amazon. They'll probably won't fit, and it'll take, like, 2 months to get here because I don't think socks are essential. But, you know, it's kind of sad because as, like, a filmmaker person, I grew up in the movie theater. My parents would drop me off at the movie theater, and I'd watch a couple at the mall with my friends. This was before Amazon destroyed malls. It was like Amazon, but in real life, and you could just walk around and buy stuff. We didn't buy anything, but, you know, like, when I was growing up, my parents took me to the movies because they didn't get a babysitter, I guess. And I saw a lot of movies. Like, that's a big reason why I want to make movies, is because I grew up watching movies in the theater. But that being said, I'm not really a traditionalist in that way. I believe I always liked streaming and watching stuff at home. I'm kind of introverted, so I don't like to go and sit next to people I don't know that are too loud. And so I'm not that upset about movie theaters, but, like, going under, but it is kind of a big deal. Like, you could argue that movie theaters, much like malls, were a very American thing. Obviously, they have them in other countries, but they became a big deal in the idea of a multiplex, which was started by AMC, by the way. I learned that in the Midnight Edge video that he made. That movie theaters used to have just one auditorium. That's it. And then one day, the guy who was running AMC was like, "Oh, we could have more than one theater, light bulb, more than one auditorium, anyways." And so now they all have like 10 screens. But it's just kind of sad. Like, I get a real nostalgia out of it. Like, because I still think of this as watching movies, even though I watch everything on Netflix and stuff anyways now. But they really are, they're going under, and it's kind of sad, you know. We need an F in the chat. But what will happen is they're still going to be around. They just won't, it'll be a novelty, you know. It's not going to be like, streaming is the way people watch movies. Especially since the virus and everything hit, streaming is blowing up. And there's been a lot of examples where they will release a movie on streaming only, and they'll make as much, if not more money than they would in traditional theaters. Because what happens is, the reason they charge you like $15 for popcorn and everything, it's because the theaters, they call them the distributors, they get a cut of the sales. But when you have a streaming, like Disney Plus, Netflix, you know, they get 100% of the revenue. Or either that, or they'll sell it directly to, like, because what Netflix does is they'll just buy they'll buy the property outright. Like, they license it, but they definitely will just buy it, and then they can do whatever they want. That's why you see a lot of old TV shows that aren't on anymore end up on these streaming services, because they came in with their deep pockets, were like, we'll just buy this or that. It's really cool. I like the way the business is going, the industry. Well, speaking of streaming, let's go to the next topic. What's my time here? I want to monitor it, even though it's not going to affect anything really. Disney Plus. I want to talk about Disney Plus. Last episode, I talked about The Mandalorian, which is on Disney Plus. Shout out to my mom for letting me use her login, because I don't think I could afford to pay for all these. So shout out. But Disney Plus, I want to talk about Disney Plus. I've talked about it before, but they're very, first of all, they're a juggernaut, and they started out with a bang. They kicked it off with, obviously they have Pixar and the Marvel movies, because Disney bought Marvel and Star Wars, which was a genius baller move, by the way. And they bought Fox as well, so I know they have The Simpsons on there, and National Geographic apparently. They have a real foothold in the market. So Disney Plus is not going anywhere. Netflix, their main competitor is Disney Plus, I would say right now, partly because Disney Plus is so cheap. It's like $4.99. Netflix is like $12 at this point. So the price alone let them jump into the market. But what I want to talk about is how Disney Plus is not there yet. Netflix has the advantage of being around for the last 5 years, and they've really, how do I put this? They've really updated their interface to accommodate the habits of streamers. Like, obviously, they have the obvious stuff like, you know, you skip the intro to a show. It gives you a little button that lets you skip it. And YouTube has really been a trailblazer in this kind of stuff. Like, YouTube lets you press the spacebar to pause and stuff like that. And using not only the arrow buttons, but like JKL, which is actually something pulled from video editing. They call it JKL editing, where K on the screen, on the keyboard, does pause, and then J and L will move it forward and backward. And so you can actually do that on YouTube now. Netflix hasn't adopted this, but they're starting to. And then Disney Plus hasn't figured all this out yet. And also Hulu has no excuse. They have not added these things either. Things like full screen, like you could press F to do full screen on YouTube and Netflix now. Hulu does not. But Hulu is a lot more traditional media. Like, whenever you go to Hulu and look at the interface, you can tell they set it up like a like in Las Vegas casinos. They set it up like a maze on purpose. They make it hard for you to find the elevators and where the food is, because they want you to run into the slot machines and go, oh, let me play a few more slots. And Hulu does this, and I think it is to their detriment. And I'm glad Disney Plus is not doing this. Disney Plus, much like Netflix, is like, here's what you want, boom, take it. And sadly, YouTube is starting to be more like Hulu in that regard. They're making it where there's tons of YouTube videos you can watch where traditional media is kind of filling the pot. They're lining the pockets, as it were. They're giving money to YouTube to promote their shows more. That's why when you, like, if you do an incognito tab and go to YouTube, like the homepage, it's nothing but late night TV. And I don't know about you, but the reason I don't like watching TV anymore is because of late night TV and too many ads. And that's what's taken over YouTube. So sadly, YouTube they're so big they can't fail, but sooner or later someone's going to do it better. And it makes me sad. But anyways, I'm going off on a tangent here. I want to talk more about Disney Plus. Their interface is getting there. It's not there yet. They're really resting on their laurels. Resting on their laurels, which means like their past accomplishments. They have the Disney brand and things like Pixar and Marvel now and Star Wars. And they have, you know, movies like Avengers, even though Avengers is on Netflix still. But I think Disney Plus needs to step up their game and improve their interface and make it more user-friendly for people that want to stream. And don't go the Hulu, YouTube route and start acting like traditional media. So yeah, that's about it. I watched Mandalorian. I talked about it on the last episode. Mandalorian is awesome. I got to the last episode. I'm very excited to see the next season. We'll see what happens. If they get a little too woke, it might go south. The rumblings in the industry is that's where it's headed, like everything these days. But we'll see what happens. I'm very optimistic. I like Jon Favreau, and we'll see where it goes. I'll totally talk about it when it comes out. But speaking of streaming shows, let's talk about The Tiger King. I have to talk about it. I reluctantly don't want to talk about, quote, popular topics, even though I just ranted about Disney Plus. What? My username is boyish. Alright, anyways. That makes no sense. But let's talk about the Tiger King. The Tiger King is a phenomenon, and the main reason I want to talk about it, because I don't really want to talk just because it's the popular thing. I do want to talk about it because it's kind of one of those things that's right place, right time. Netflix has been killing it with the documentaries like To Catch a Murderer and stuff like that, and the Aaron Hernandez one. And this is another one. I think they know how to do these. They're not traditional documentaries. Like, there is a slant to it for sure. It's more of a sensationalist documentary versus a traditional documentary that just talks about something. They're sensationalizing it for entertainment, which is like, if you've heard, a lot of people are complaining. Like, some of the people in Doc Antle's group, that's another one of the because there's all these different players. Like, the Tiger King is just the biggest one. There's like Carol Baskins, Doc Antle, and there's this one guy, I don't know what his name is, but he like provides tigers. He's kind of his own character. And some of these people have come out saying that they don't say a lot of stuff the Tiger King was doing that was bad, because they kind of want you to root for the Tiger King himself. I don't know his name, but he also did some shady stuff. Like, he was like giving drugs to his many wives, or many husbands. And here comes Carol Baskins. I don't trust her. I don't trust any of these people, honestly. But it's cool because, like, number one, Netflix is killing it with the documentaries, but also it happened right place, right time. This came out like a week or two, or like a week after everybody went into quarantine. And then so everyone's making memes about it. And when people are making memes about your stuff, that's how you know it's a hit. Whether they like it or hate it. Memes, what is it? Netflix is a meme? Netflix is a meme. But, I mean, look at this, dudes. Look at this mullet, the stash. I mean, this guy has, like, music videos. And it's really is a phenomenon that right when everyone's stuck at home is when this thing released. And it released all together, which I think is the superior way to do it. The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, they're kind of having this like Hulu syndrome where it's too much like television, where they released them episode by episode, when I think The Mandalorian should have just done all the episodes. But you know, I digress. Look at that tiger tattoo he has. Oh my gosh. Now this is an old picture. I'm pretty sure Tiger King today. He looks, I can't find a picture of him in jail. Is that him? No, that's not him. Well, there's Doc Antle. But the Tiger King, let's see if we can find him from jail. They have clips of him. I guess that's what he looks like. Is this it? No, that's not him. No. There's talking Trump will pardon him. Trump would only do that because he wants to get reelected. I don't think that it's like a pure PR move. Honestly, that's what I would do. It would make a lot of hype. Here he is. This is what I was looking for. This is him in jail. I'm pretty sure he's still rich, though. Because Lord knows he's not paying his employees. All these people, Doc Antle, him, Carol Baskins, all of them underpay their employees by far. It's really sad, actually. Like the Doc Antle guy, this guy, you've seen his son on a lot of Instagram stuff. That's his son. It looks like him. On a lot of the Instagram tiger stuff that you see, it's his son. But this guy pays his employees like $100 a week or something. That's crazy. That is way below minimum wage. That's way below the poverty line. And it's very much like a cult. And I think that's part of the appeal, is that these people create their own cults. And they get a, you know, this is where the expression comes from, a cult-like following. And it's just really interesting. Like, it came out during the virus, the quarantine, and it's very sensationalist, riding that wave of like Netflix docuseries. And I just think it's really cool how this show is just blown up. And lead actors are lining up to play it. There's a tweet where Dax Shepard was like, I'm going to totally play it. And then Edward Norton was like, no, I'm going to play it. And like, I think whatever live action biopic they make, it'll never be as crazy as these people are in real life. Like, the documentary really showcases that. And so I don't think they need a biopic. Like, this is, when you watch it, it looks like one of those Christopher Guest mockumentaries on its own. It's that crazy. So that's my 2 cents on the Tiger King. I'm still going through it. I don't like love it, so I'm not powering through it. I'm on like the 3rd episode. All I know is that I want that medical jacket. I want the bat. Okay, so one of the characters, look at this jacket. How cool is this jacket? It reminds me of the Akira jacket, but with like the red or medical symbol or whatever that is. Like, let's see if I can get a comparison. Akira jacket with the pill. No, I don't. I want the anime one. Anyway, it has a big pill. Hold on. Anime. Here's a picture of it. You can kind of see it. How cool is that? And then compared to the medical jacket, like, I want one. I really want to see if I can get a hold of one on Amazon or something. I don't want to sit here and go through Amazon, but it's got that cool like 90s bomber jacket look. I'm in love with these 90s style bomber jackets. Like this, we're trying to make this movie, like a short film on the channel, and a lot of it is inspired by these like 90s style. Like, the character in the movie is gonna wear a jacket similar to this. It won't have a cool thing on the back. It'll just be like generic leather jacket, but it's so cool. It's so 90s. I love it. All right, now the main story of this episode, or the main topic. What's my time here? 30 minutes. All right, we're already over half an hour, which is the minimum that I want to do. So this is just bonus, basically. Well, technically, the Ghost in the Shell story is bonus, because I wasn't originally going to talk about it till I discovered that it was out on Netflix like yesterday. But the main story of this episode is Fallout Wastlanders. I streamed Fallout on the channel the other day. DJ Huntingdown was checking it out. How old am I? Can't say. Oh, I can't tell you. If I tell y'all, you'll have me taken away. I want to pretend that I'm like Keanu Reeves and I'm immortal. But yeah. Anyways, DJ Huntingdown was watching the stream. I was only gonna stream for like an hour and a half. That's usually how long I try to shoot for. But I did it for like 4 hours because Fallout. Are you ready? Fallout 76 is actually worth playing now. It's really good. Like, I played it when it came out, and I definitely streamed on the channel. It was so buggy and so bad. And I don't really want to go into, like, you know, how they dropped the game, and it was really bad. That's kind of the trend these days. There's an interview on Joe Rogan's podcast where John Carmack, the creator of Doom, talks about how if you wait too long to release a game, the industry moves on and then your game is irrelevant. Because that's what they did with Rage. It took too long to come out and nobody cared by the time it came out. Of course, that game kind of just wasn't that good anyways. But here's one of the bosses you can fight. Basically what happened was they released the game. This game's like 3 years old at this point. It really should be better by now, but it's good enough. I don't know if it's worth $60, which is what it retails for as of now. When I bought it, they had it on sale for half price at $30 because they were like, please play our game. And I thought, $30, That's how much I pay for like my gym membership that I never use. So I thought, oh, that's worth it. And it was. I would say either buy it. I don't know it's worth 60. I'd say like 45 at this point. But with this new update, they really are on their way. Like, there was a lot of interface updates and stability issues they fixed. Like, the game didn't crash once while I streamed it, and the graphics looked a little better, and they fixed a lot of they call it quality of life stuff. Just stuff that's like with the menu, stuff that streamlines certain things, and it's so much better. I almost want to stream it today, but I might wait till tomorrow. I don't know. I'm trying to do one video a day that I stream, not two, because it kind of messes up your algorithm on YouTube. One a day at the most. If you do more than one, it can hurt the visibility of the first video you release. Like, if you do one, then do another one like 3 hours later. Now, this is a rule of thumb. Obviously, if you're a big time channel that is promoted by YouTube and you're on their YouTube side, H3H3 to mention a few, then things are different. But I'm a nobody technically on YouTube. I'm not that big time yet. Mark my words, yet. So this applies if you're not like a big YouTuber. But so that's why I'm trying to do that. Anyways, the Wastlanders, let's talk about the update specifically. All it really did was add NPCs. See, they had this idea which was horrible. I don't know what they were thinking when they came out with the game. They were like, oh, we're going to make it where the only other players you see is other people, which would make sense if it's an MMO like ESO. When you go on ESO, there's tens, 20, 30, hundreds of people you can see. That makes a lot of sense. But I guess because of Fallout, they were like, oh, you only see people every once in a while. That is not, like, on paper that sounds cool, but in practice, this isn't necessarily an MMO, but it is a game that people play online with their friends. And when you're setting it up to encourage the lowest amount of interaction between people, it just doesn't work. And then they have like PvP, like there's a battle royale, but nobody wants PvP in this kind of game. They want PvE. They want to play with their friends and do Fallout. Like, this is what people wanted out of Elder Scrolls games for the last 10 years. They want to be able to play it with their friends. They don't want to play against their friends. Hold on, my throat's getting dry. And Pete Hines, the PR guy, basically, for this game, and all Bethesda Bethesda Game Studios, he was saying, like, he did a podcast recently where they were very surprised by how little people wanted to do PvP. And it's like, duh, of course people want to do it. They want to do PvE. They want to go against the environment with their friends. And Wastlanders is an update that added NPCs. There's this lady and this dude, and there's like also Raider. That's what there's the Raider power armor you can get, and then like the Wastelanders power armor. Now I kind of want the Raider power armor, but I don't want to side with the Raiders. I want to kill the Raiders. So I guess in my playthrough that I'm doing now, I'm doing the Wastelanders side. You kind of basically two factions that you have to choose. And the Raiders are not, obviously they're Raiders, they're evil, but they're kind of like Raiders vanilla light, like diet Raiders. They're not the real evil ones, because they also introduced a new set of Raiders in the game that are like evil, that are not the good kind that you can side with. But I just think it's a great update. It's not there yet. There's not that much to do once you do these quests. It's a lot to do, though. I heard it's like 20, 30 hours, something like that, which is cool. That's a lot. I think they're on their way to being like Elder Scrolls Online, because Elder Scrolls Online released, it was a disaster as well. And they cite ESO in their interviews saying that we're trying to be like ESO, where they just kept updating and updating and updating, and suddenly it's this awesome game. And I'm going to stream more ESO as well. But I just think it's really, they're on the right Bethesda, if you're watching, not that they watch this, but if you're watching, I think it's a great update. You're on the right track. Keep going. And I wish they would make they need to make it easier to find traders. I know that you could trade with other players, but they had to take it out because people were selling stolen items. Like somebody hacked the game and was getting like legendary items, and then you could trade them to people. So you can still give stuff to people, but it's just for $0. And in ESO, you can trade to people for money. And so I think they need to fix that and re-implement it in the game, like add trading between players. But they don't want to break the economy of the game, so they had to remove it for a while. But hopefully they add it back. And I think they're adding pets, which is cool. I'm trying to think, what do I really want out of the game? I just want it to be easier to find a trade. Make it easier for me to make money in the game. Because scrapping stuff is cool, but I'm not really into the base building. I mean, I like it. I'm going to build bases, but that's not like why I play the game. So the scrapping and stuff, it's cool to a point, but I want to be able to make money in the game. I'm a GTA Online grinder, so I like to make money in games. It's funny, I put all this effort into making money in games. I should put that much effort into making money in real life, but we'll see. Alright, so that's basically all I got for 76. Now, to the bonus meme, the bonus topic. Now, let me preface this. I am a diehard fan of Ghost in the Shell. This is by far my favorite anime of all time, this franchise. And I'm a huge fan. I can make a whole podcast just talking about Ghost in the Shell. Well, let's get some backstory here. Ghost in the Shell, they have, okay. There's a bunch of movies. Well, there's 3. Okay, so the first Ghost in the Shell was the one in the 80s. Now, this is based on a manga. It's by the same people that did Appleseed. And look how 80s it looks. I miss that 80s, early 90s, like, hand-drawn animation. I'm sad that the new show doesn't have the 2D cartoon animation like this anymore. But I'm setting this up so you can understand why this new one is so good. So they had the movie, and then this movie, by the way, heavily inspired Blade Runner, the movie. And it no, I got it backwards. Blade Runner heavily inspired this movie, this franchise. And a lot of the, it started the whole, Japan loves Blade Runner, and it just sparked this whole cyberpunk. Obviously, cyberpunk as a genre was around before it was in books, but Blade Runner had a huge influence on this, and then this has a huge influence in Japan. It's kind of like an anime as a whole, kind of like how Indiana Jones influenced Uncharted, and then Uncharted kind of started this whole influence on gaming, and that's a whole nother topic. But so they had the first movie in the 90s. What was it? 95. And then they had 2, what is it? Ghost in the Shell movies. Hold on. Show. Stand alone. Then they had a show with 2 seasons called Standalone Complex. Season 1 and Season 2. Season 1, I'm trying to find or maybe it was just called Ghost in the Shell Season 1. Let's try. I'm trying to find a screenshot, because you can see the animation was not as good in the first Ghost in the Shell. Where is it? Well, anyways, everything's cluttered into the new one now. But the first here's a screenshot of the first season. You can tell the animation was a little bit lower, and then they had the season 2. Okay, so season 1 is awesome. Season 2 is really good. They had more money and better animation. That's what this is. You can tell it's a little bit better, and the story isn't as good, but overall this season is like one of the like this show is probably the best in terms of anime, like not movies, but like with episodes. Man, it's probably the best show I've ever seen. It's so good. And then after that, after the hit of that, because it kind of became a cult following. After a while, financially or commercially, it wasn't that big of a hit. The first season, and then they had the second movie. Now this is probably the greatest anime movie ever made. I highly recommend it. It's got the same writer and director, or the same director as the first movie, and the same music. It's so good. I want to watch it again. I want to buy it on Blu-ray. It's so good. It kind of shares a similar plot, sort of, as the first one. All the plots are kind of similar, but man, this is one of the greatest movies. Okay, and then after that, so they had the first movie. I lost my spot. They had come on, Google. They had the first movie, the 2 seasons of the show, the second movie, and then I think they had this 2015 movie, which was okay. It was called the Solid State Society, which was actually pretty good. It was kind of just like a long episode of one of the shows, which is fine, but it's like, just have it be another show. So this, you could almost argue this was like an unofficial season 3 of the show, but it was so short. But it continued the story, all right? And then we have to get to the black mark on it. What was it called? Ghost in the Shell Arise. Now, there's something in anime called an OVA, which is basically kind of like its own timeline release of an anime that usually is a lot shorter, has a few episodes. Kind of like Fooly Cooly, it has 3 or 6 episodes. Or no, this one only has like 4. Whereas Fooly Cooly is its own thing. It's not based on some other anime. I mean, obviously, it's based on a manga. But Arise was a huge, steaming pile of crap. I really wanted to like it, but it's a generic anime. It suffers from what I like to call sequel syndrome, where it's been so recycled that it's kind of just this generic thing that happens to share the same names and, you know, characters of an IP, but it's not like that IP at all. That's what this is. It's nothing like Ghost in the Shell. It's a crappy cyberpunk action anime that shares the same name. It totally sucks. They ruined Kusanagi. Motoko Kusanagi, the lead character of the show, she is a badass, okay? She is a full cyborg. She was basically, what is that? Talking to yourself at this point? Yes, you're true. That's what the podcast is for. I want to rant, and even if no one listens, I'm going to keep doing it. That's what the podcast is for. But basically, she's such a cool character, and don't get me started on the live action movie. They ruined it for sure. I kind of knew that though, but it's unforgivable to do it in the anime. Like her character is supposed to be this, like she's a kid who was in this horrible accident, and they could only save her ghost, and they give her a cyber brain and a body. She basically is owned by the government. That's why she has this badass cybernetic body. And she's like a military tactician. She's really smart and good at hacking and figuring things out. That's why she's the leader of the group, because she's a badass. And they made her as this, like, in Arise, they made her like this generic, anime girl. Like, it just sucked. They made her like this generic badass. And she's not a generic badass. She's a badass because she's smart, and she looks at things a different way. That's why she's a badass. And she utilizes her cybernetic body. She's not Bato. They tried to turn her into Bato, who's my second favorite character in the show. My favorite character is Togusa, because he's a badass. Because he's actually he's not a cyborg. Like, most of them are mostly they have a lot of cybernetic parts. Bato, well, starting out, he was the only human with no cybernetic parts. In season 2, he gets injured and he has to get cybernetic parts, so he becomes more part of the team. But I don't know. This show sucked. Okay, so now finally we'll get into the new show. What do they call it? Standalone Complex 2045. I think they wanted to differentiate it because it has the new CG, low budget, Jimmy Neutron kind of animation, which I don't like. I really prefer the 2D cartoon. They should have just kept that. It would have been fine. But they wanted to update it, and so I get that. It takes you a second to get used to the animation, and the first like 10 minutes of it is awful. I was like, oh no, it's going to be another Arise. But I think because they have her like, she's like in the desert drinking beer and stuff. And I think they did it just there's a big info drop of who the characters are for the normies, and for the people that aren't like me, who are like hardcore Ghost in the Shell fans. But once you get like 10 minutes in, you realize that this is not a crappy Ghost in the Shell Arise cash-in. This is a 100% legit addition to the franchise. This is the season 3 that we never got. It takes place after season 2, and they even talk about all the stuff that happened in season 2, where at the end of season 2, basically, the company, they're called Section 9 Public Security, and they're basically like hardcore cops, really. More like the FBI almost, where they actively pursue crimes before they happen and stuff like that. And they got disbanded and branded criminals at the end of the season 2. And they talk about that, and they talk about why like Togusa went his own way, and he became like a private security kind of guy, private cop, like a, not really a detective, but like basically not really a mercenary, but like someone that does like security detail for celebrities and stuff like that. And it's so good. The storyline is about these new, I don't want to give it away, but basically they discover this new type of enemy, and it's really cool and exciting and interesting. And they even have an episode where Chief Aramaki, who's their badass boss, who looks a lot like the third Hokage, they even have this whole like almost like a filler episode in season 2 where he sees this like old girlfriend, and they get caught up in this like bank heist kind of thing, and he runs into that character in this season, in this show, and it's really cool, and they harken back to it, and I'm taking my time. That's how much I like this. Just like The Witcher, like there's only one season, and I don't want to go through it too fast, so I'm watching them like real slowly, one episode at a time. But I can't say enough. This show is so awesome. It really does justice to all the characters. It brings them all back except for Pazu. Where's Pazu? This guy. They don't have Pazu. They have everyone else but Pazu. And they had this other guy. Let me see if I can find him. Clown. Let's see what it'll show him. What's the new... Well, here's Pazu. Pazu is such a badass. Hopefully they'll show him later. But he's kind of like Togusa, but like a dark version of Togusa. Togusa is the guy with the mullet who is like a detective. He's kind of like a real, I don't want to say white knight. That has a negative connotation, but he's like a straight shooter guy. And then Pazu is like the dark version of that. He used to be in the Yakuza, and he's kind of a detective, but more like a private investigator. Whereas Togusa is like a pure detective, like with the police force. And they kind of replaced him with let's see if I can new characters. Why won't it show what his real name is? I want to find a picture of this guy. Do they show Anime News Network? You better not play an ad. Alright, there's Togusa. What is his name? I'm not asking the right questions. New character on tattoo clown. They call him Clown because he's kind of an idiot. Ah, dang it. Anyways, it's this one guy who's kind of like a rookie. Not really a rookie, but he's kind of like a noob. And he's a mercenary. He has experience, but they kind of give him they bust his chops for not having good electronics, and he keeps getting hacked and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, you know, if they're gonna replace him, fine. But then at the end of the few episodes, he leaves, and I'm like, well, I was just getting used to him. If you're not gonna have him, bring back Pazu. I don't know. That's my only complaint. Where's Pazu? But yeah, I think that's all my topics. Did I cover them all? Well, it goes to the show. Yeah, that's about it. What's my time? About an hour? Not bad, not bad. Let's see. Let's go. Let me take off screenshot. Well, I think that might be the end of the show. But thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, Gotcha Fox. What was your name? Shout out. Appreciate it. We're one step closer to 200 subscribers. If you like this channel, if you like this podcast, you want to see gaming videos, vlogs, shows, movies, subscribe to the channel, TemporarySpaceStudios. Hold on, let me pull up my... There. If you like the show, like all this content, I'm trying to do stuff. This week I'm doing an experiment. I'm going to do Monday through Thursday instead of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because I can add an extra day, still have my time off, but then yeah, I can still take, because doing it every day just doesn't work for me. But anyways, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Instagram at TemporarySpaceStudios. Or if you want to support us directly, you can buy our merchandise at letuswearclothing.com. We got shirts and a hoodie. I'm going to add more shirts pretty soon. Or we have a website, TemporarySpaceStudios.com. It has links to everything. Even links to the Netflix podcast, which isn't really a Temporary Space Studios thing, but I've been doing it with my buddy Miles for like 5 years. So if you want to know what's new on Netflix Instant, we do that every month as well. There's a link for that on the website. But yeah, I think I'm ready to call us out. Or what's the outro? Whatever. Here. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm Jim Lettuce. This is Temporary Space Studios. Drive safe and shit. Alright, bye, Gotcha Fox. Have fun playing Minecraft.